I mean, I feel like I'm kind of his white whale. Uh, it's a love-hate relationship. You know, he just doesn't know how to quit me.
So it's been a long time coming for this new season of a Criminal Minds Evolution. What can you tease about the premiere episode and the aftermath of the season one finale?
Hit it, Zach.
Oh, God, come on. I think we kind of tease up Gold Star at the end of last season, and it just kind of becomes a much bigger thing than anyone expected. What was just kind of a ploy to get Doug Bailey turns out to be a much bigger conspiracy, so to speak. And unfortunately for the BAU, the only person who can kind of help them is me. And I use that to my advantage and try to milk every possibility to get myself out of the situation I'm in, which is a jail cell.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it's like I said. I think it's an apropos name. This show is now called Criminal Minds Evolution. So I think what we are doing is evolving. We have the capability now, since in this whole streaming platform, to evolve of what we've already done. For so many years on network television, we'd have a beginning, a middle, of an end, and then start all over again with something else. This way, we're able to really go in depth with a storyline that incorporates a lot of different things and goes a lot of different directions and involves a lot of different emotions at a level and an intensity that we wouldn't normally be able to even do on network television. So, I mean, I think that's, look, I've liked serialization even since when I was a kid, and I'd watch on Saturdays, watch the serialization of Flash Gordon and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't think that appeal changes over the years. It just becomes a different version of that.
Mm-hmm. And Rossi and Voight had a very complex dynamic, if you will, in the first season, even without directly seeing each other in person. What was it like playing off of that, and how will that continue in the second season?
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of his white whale. Uh, it's a love-hate relationship. You know, he just doesn't know how to quit me. But, I think as we saw, Voight grew up reading Rossi's books, and as much of a psychopath as he is, he's also kind of a mad genius. And I think for him, getting to kind of get under the skin of, it's not his mentor by any means, but someone who he looks up to and has studied under from afar. I think it's also kind of like a self challenge for Voight to outsmart Rossi, not just for his own freedom, but also for his own ego.
Yeah, and I personally, I love the way that relationship has kind of grown and where it's going and where it's going to continue to grow during the season. Because I think back to, I directed the episode back the first season where we kind of basically introduced Voight and his family and his wife and the kids, and that so much of that was kind of like a domestic situation. I mean, you really saw that positive side to him. And and then of course within it there was those moments of like, oh, wait a minute, oh, But yet on the other hand, he was a dad with the wife and kids and lived in suburbia, and so it's nice to be able to see that these characters can ride both sides of the street at different times, and it, just like basically what he says, there's sometimes a love-hate kind of respect and anger or kind of thing that's goes on and will continue to go
on. Mm-hmm. And kind of going off of that, Joe, Rossi obviously went through a lot last season. No thanks to Voight. Where will his mindset be in season 2?
Well, I think people will find out that there has been, as one would expect, some ramifications of that. In other words, Rossi did not come away unscathed. And I think it's reflective of what really does happen. I mean, especially in this day and age of when we become aware of, especially in our military, people who suffer from PTSD and that people, how damaged they can be by being put in such traumatic situations in their life. But this is a case where, the normal kind of existence gets compounded by what they've had to endure. And so there's certainly going to be elements of that. I think it comes out very early on in the, right away out of the gate with the first episodes that we do, and we'll see where that goes with that, how that's dealt with.
And Zach, what has it been like portraying Voight and getting into the shoes of a psychotic serial killer?
It's funny because you don't really see him do a lot of that side of himself. So it's there, it's under the surface, but I think the fun in the characters, like Joe alluded to, you kind of see him as this last season, you saw him as this family man. This guy who was trying to, in his mind, protect his family. And now this season is kind of a guy who's just trying to get out of a bad situation. And I think that's what's fun for the audience is because I think he's kind of a fun character that you can find yourself liking. And then you have to remind yourself of what he's doing behind closed doors that I think it's really smart of the creators of the show to not show that stuff. And we've talked about it a lot that with the exception of killing Doug Bailey, we've never actually seen him kill anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the brilliance of the character, and I think it's the brilliance of the way you're playing it. That that's I've always felt that was the key to playing a role like that. When you do that role, you don't necessarily think of yourself as a bad person. You have to think of yourself as the heroic side of who you are. In your mind, what you're doing is absolutely perfectly okay, and it's just it's the actions that will make dictate it. But you don't play at being that kind of what ultimately is evil. It's just that's the result of what's happening.
And for my final question, is there anything else that you guys can preview about season 2?
All I can say is we're certainly building hopefully for what's going to be season 3. That's all I can tell you. I mean, we've set the dinner table and then some, so we'll see.
So I wanted to start off by saying that it's been a long time coming for this new season of Criminal Minds Evolution. What can you guys tease about the premiere and the aftermath of the season 1 finale?
This is the best season of Criminal Minds thus far. I feel super confident in saying that. We all have really been marveling at just the level to which our creative team, specifically Erica Messer, Breen Frazier, and Chris Barbour, have really elevated the storytelling, the caliber of the scripts, really demanding, knowing that this is a team that can absolutely over-deliver, really demanding a lot of everybody involved and just telling really extraordinary stories. This is just an amazing season of Criminal Minds. It's the best one yet. And so I think for longtime fans of the show, it's going to be a real journey for them, to love a show as intensely as the Criminal Minds fandom loves Criminal Minds, and then to know that the best is in front of them and not behind them, I think is a really unique position to be in as a part of the creative team. And then also as a fan, I think people are going to be really delighted.
I think it's definitely worth the wait. They're going to be thrilled. Definitely worth the wait. A pretty cool thing to get to say that in season 17, we're doing some of our best work. So, so excited for all of y'all to see it.
I think the writers continue to do what they do so well, which is, balance like these weekly unsubs and the weekly cases with kind of new serialized format and there's some new relationships that are forming all over the place, and those are the real juicy things for everybody. So it's I'll just echo the sentiment that it's a great season.
And kind of going off of that, actually, Ryan, James, what was it like joining the series last season and seeing Tyler's relationship with Garcia?
Kirsten is one of the loveliest people I've ever met. She is incredibly generous and incredibly kind. So coming onto a set for someone who's worked on this show, and getting to spend so much time with her, she's been on the show for so many episodes, and seeing how she treats the crew, it was just a very inspirational thing. And I think that we paired really well and that worked really well on screen. So last year, as Tyler Green had his little heart broken in the hospital, he learned some tough lessons, right? So he's back this year. He's joined as a consultant with the BAU. And I think there's some residual pain and things like that. But I think at the core, he's really excited to see Penelope Garcia again. As RJ was excited to see the entire cast again at the beginning of this year, and couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of the show.
And speaking of relationships, Aisha, is there anything that you can tease about Tara's relationship with Rebecca and where they will be at in season 2?
Well, what can I tease? I mean, I think the thing that we know about what's going on with their relationship, we saw at the end of season 16, which is that, Tara chose her job over her relationship. And honestly, she might have some regrets about how she handled it, but I don't think she would apologize because her job is to save lives. It's not like she chose putting out the newsletter over her girlfriend. You know what I mean? This is really important work she's doing. But I do think she wishes she'd handled it maybe with a bit more finesse. But now she's got to go to work with her ex, who is also her boss. And that's going to be, incredibly awkward and present some really specific, challenges to discipline and mental focus, but also going to provide some really great opportunities for storytelling, some awkward moments, some moments of real humor. And I think some relatable moments for anyone out there who's ever had a workplace crush or a strained relationship with a coworker. I think it's really relatable stuff. But again, for our team in the BAU, the stakes are way, way higher than, your next PowerPoint presentation. So it just makes for great storytelling this season. And I think, Nicole Payson, who plays Rebecca, she's a great actress and really brings a lot to the show and a lot of nuance and a lot of strength. And I think people are going to really enjoy how that story unfolds over the season.
This season should be called Criminal Minds, Awkward Relationships. the relationships that are coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Right, Aisha and RJ.
There's a lot of
awkward and wonderful, and the audience is going to love it.
Absolutely.
And AJ, for you, it was announced that Josh Stewart will no longer be on the series, unfortunately. What can fans expect from that aftermath, and if the series will even reveal what's going on with him?
Yeah, I mean, we miss him dearly, yet we support him wholeheartedly in his decision to not come back. I mean, I, of course, miss him like crazy because it's such a strong relationship that they have, and her family life is such a, heart of the show to see that side. But this season, we've got so much going on that we hit the ground running, and there's enough awkward relationships floating around. We don't have time for a healthy one. So, yeah, but it's sad. I mean, I was just as sad as all of the fans because I'm a fan of him and I'm a fan of our relationship too. But I wish nothing but the best for him, and he's just crushing it in life, and he knows that we are all here rooting for him and that we love him. So,
and for my last question, is there anything else that you guys can preview about season 2?
This is just the most propulsive, the most dynamic, the most exciting season that we've ever made. I think our storytelling has really elevated itself to a new level. And I think, all season we'd be reading these scripts as we were shooting. And then on the group thread, oh my God, have you guys read 5? Have you guys read 6? Holy shit. It's really, really great. And for, I've been here for 7 seasons, but AJ's been here for all of the seasons. To feel that way about the writing, to feel that excited about what comes next as a cast is a really unique place to be in season 17 of a show. It's a killer season of television. And I think that people are really going to be just dazzled by it. And I think come to the end of this season when it arrives and be just desperate for more. So, we're really hoping we get to do this again for season 3. But in the meantime, we have got an incredible season of television, in the chamber for everybody.
There truly is a sense of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It's a one big mystery. And like Aisha said, we were so excited to get the next scripts because the storytelling is so strong, and the solving of the puzzle and putting all those pieces together is like I said, it's top notch. We've really hit our stride here. So it's been so much fun to shoot this season.
So it's been a very long wait for season 2 of Criminal Minds Evolution. What can you guys tease about the premiere and the aftermath of the season 1 finale?
Oh, man. Well, can I just start by saying, and I think Kirsten will agree, this is the best season of Criminal Minds ever. And I say that feeling like we've truly earned it. And you know, if you've been a fan of the show through the life of the show, or if you're just coming on board, I mean, what we've teed up, I think is just something like you haven't seen before. You know, I mean, we're literally in a relationship now with a serial killer that we haven't been able to bag and put away in one episode. And we've now been living with this guy for what's going to be 2 seasons. I think it's amazing. I think you guys are in for an incredible ride.
Yeah. And I think that like all those seasons of Criminal Minds teed us up for this.
Yeah.
Like we did all this backstory. So it's like, if you've watched the show since Jump, there are so many Easter eggs. It's just covered in Easter eggs. But on top of it, it's covered in new things you've never seen before, but that you would suspect that character would do. Or, oh gosh, they've never done that. That's bad that they're doing that. So it's a great mix of that. And it is. Everybody's like, I mean, the directing, is Adam Rodriguez directed? But like the directing is amazing. The writing is fantastic. The cinematography looks incredible. It's great.
Yeah, and every aspect, the show has evolved to something, you know, familiar but also brand new.
Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite aspects of the series, and I'm sure for many fans as well, is the Garva's relationship.
Mine too.
I love this
Mine too. I love it.
What has it been like getting to further explore their dynamic in this in the revival?
I think they're still going. You know, it's funny because I think they tried it. You know, this season finale, they stuck it in like, okay, people want this, we'll stick it in. You know, because people are saying, oh, put it there. And then it's like, now we're just going to end this conversation. And then they did that date thing. And like, Adam, I don't want to speak for you, Adam, about this because it's funny because we don't talk about it at work because we don't, in interviews, we talk about it. So like, we haven't had one. So now we're talking about it. So like, then you're like, okay. And then there's something else. You're like, okay. And then we're just doing scenes together. Like we're just like, okay. And we have chemistry. So then people go, oh, garbage. And both of us are probably okay. But it's great. Like, I think it's fantastic. And I love that it's happening under the noses of the show almost. Like they're not writing that. It just happens.
Yeah, it just happens. So true. I think it's how it all even started, quite frankly, was that, you know, it was sort of set up for Kirsten not to like my character, but then we just ended up having this chemistry that was undeniable. And I think that when you're a writer, when you're writing for something, you're like, well, where is there gold to mine? And like, I think it was just obvious that these two characters, even in their, you know, even in Kirsten's being cold and, you know, pushing me away because she didn't want to embrace somebody new at that point. And it's really it was like a reflection of what the fans were probably fealling. I mean, the fact that.
And I was automatically like, he came in and I was like, I was very friendly to him in person. And then the camera would roll and I'd be like, like there's always a bad smell in the room. And so we've been doing the show long enough and it's like, okay, we've evolved, began with this word, like into this thing, whatever you want to call this thing is that we have that is super earned. And what's so cool is I think that the audience got to do it with us as opposed to like I know that there's a great love, obviously, in the fan world between Morgan and Garcia. But like you kind of dropped in on that. You know what I mean? Like that was already.
No, that was the thing. I mean, people were resistant to that, and understandably so. You guys had 12 seasons together or 11 seasons together, whatever it was. So there had to be a way to, you know, make it new, but have it be natural. You couldn't force it. And so having us be at odds, but then having so much fun being at odds that the chemistry was undeniable. Like you're like, oh man, I love that she's resistant to him because that's how I feel. But damn it, they have so much fun together. Like they're kind of fun. They make me laugh. I feel good.
They can't stop us from having fun.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, I love getting to play those scenes. Those are my favorite things to do on the show because it's just like getting to do improv. Sometimes, even if it's scripted, it feels like improv energetically.
And Kirsten, season 1 saw Garcia get close with Tyler. Now, and he was always like in between being good and bad. Now that he's on the show full time and even working with the VAU, what will their relationship look like?
I think he's still bad. It's awkward. It's as awkward as you think. I think it's awkward. I think it's like, you decide to do this thing, you do this thing, and you're like, okay, but now I'm just going to throw myself into work. And then these dum-dums decide to like throw him into my work and that. So it's a fun thing to play. And I think that the writers are so great about this. This is not like, all the girls, we all just saw each other like last week. We do our little hot tub wine machine where we all get together, and everybody was kind of, I know you don't get invited because you're not a girl. We were having this whole like, and I mean this in the nicest way. All of us were like, well, I don't feel like I did a lot. I don't really feel like I did a lot this season. And we were all kind of deciding like, no, it's like, that's the great thing about this show is there's not like, this is the one person that it's like, we're all creating the thing, And so they don't really live. It does not like, oh, it just keeps on going this, Tyler and Garcia thing. It's there when it serves the story. It's not distracting. I think it like moves really well. It's a really good season. I'm looking forward to you seeing it.
And Adam, for you, you have directed in the past. Are you able to reveal whether you will be directing an upcoming episode?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. I did. I directed episode 3 this season. I always forget. I think it was 3. Yeah, it was 3 for sure. It's just every time it's a joy to do. You get worked up leading up to it because there's just so much going on that there's a moment where it all feels so overwhelming. And I'm like saying to myself, why do I do this to myself? Like, why am I doing this to myself? And then as soon as that's all throughout the prep, I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much to wrap your head around. And then there's still the acting part of being in the show. But then once I get on set and it's day one and we get into that pocket, I absolutely love getting to work with the cast and crew in that capacity because, you get to further build the relationships that you have. As an actor, I see all of these people every day. I've got my actors that we all work together as actors every day. I've got the director of photography and, the production designer and the art, everybody in the art department and the special effects and, every single piece of the machine that's part of making this show, I get to now touch base with them as a director in a way that I don't get to do as an actor. And I love that I get to strengthen those relationships and make them stronger and deeper, through having a chance to do that. And there's something really special about getting to do that in a place that you inhabit every day versus somewhere that you just show up as a director for hire in that episode and you pop in and you pop out. And it really is, I would say that's my favorite part about directing, other than getting to work with the actors and help them through an episode, offering a little bit of guidance here or there. I really love getting to work with everybody that I don't get to work with as an actor. So,
all right, well,
to answer your question, yeah, I directed.
Well, thank you guys so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Megan.